highlights of the president's speech. We'll check the facts, and we'll bring you analysis from NPR's political reporters. I'm Ari Shapiro, the State of the Union, on the next morning edition from NPR News.
You can hear Morning Edition from 5 until 9. Stay with us and join us for the State of the Union coverage here from National Public Radio this evening at 7.
Wyoming Public Radio supporters include the Red Willow Restaurant, offering fine dining in a relaxed atmosphere, located in the Wind River Casino, 2 miles south of Riverton, serving Fremont County since 2008 with a staff of over 100.
The time is 5:30.
From NPR News, this is All Things Considered. I'm Madeline Brand.
And I'm Robert Siegel. It sounds like the title of a kid's book. What color is a dinosaur?
Well, scientists think they know the answer in at least one case.
This study begins to bring the colors of dinosaurs out of the realm of artistry and into the realm of science.
Now the news.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Ann Taylor. In just about 90 minutes, President Obama will deliver his State of the Union address with a focus on the nation's economy. NPR's Scott Horsley reports.
Mr. Obama is expected to lay out plans to boost the economy in both the short and the long run. He's likely to reiterate his call for a tax credit to encourage small businesses to hire sooner rather than later, and he'll try to explain how other initiatives are intended to lay the foundation for extended economic growth. The speech comes at a challenging time for the president and his party. Unemployment stands at 10%, despite the government's economic stimulus efforts, and Democrats have just lost their supermajority in the Senate, putting other elements of the president's agenda at risk. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Officials of United Airlines say that things are looking up, that business travel is improving, and that company losses are much lower than a year ago. NPR's Cheryl Corley has more.
The airline industry was hit hard by falling demand for business travel last year as companies cut travel costs during the recession. United suffered more than others, in part because of the layout of its routes, but now things seem to be improving, and it should stand to gain as business travel returns. The airline's chief financial officer says efforts to cut costs, lower jet fuel prices, plus better business travel have put United on the road to closing the profitability gap. Parent company UAL Corporation says it lost $240 million during the fourth quarter, much smaller than the $1.3 billion it lost during the same period the previous year. Revenue fell nearly 8% to slightly more than $4 billion, higher than what analysts had anticipated. Cheryl Corley, NPR News, Chicago.
New home sales were down last month, dropping more than 7.5%. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 41 points, the NASDAQ 17. This is NPR News.
Support for NPR comes from Raymond James, independent financial planning advice, asset management, and investment banking. Individual solutions from independent advisors. RaymondJames.com.
It's 5:32 for Wyoming Public Radio News. I'm Bob Beck. Ron Michaeli of Fort Bridger has kicked off his campaign for the Republican nomination to run for Wyoming governor. Michaeli is a former state representative and former director of the Wyoming Department of Agriculture. Michaeli says he wants to defend citizens' constitutional rights and defends Wyoming's sovereignty from infringement by the federal government. State Auditor Rita Meyer and former U.S. Attorney Matt Mead have also announced they're seeking the GOP nomination. Speaking of Meyer, she's cut ties with a volunteer who used a bit of online trickery to misdirect visitors trying to link to her opponent's website. Republican candidate Rita Meyer said today that volunteer Paul Montoya was no longer working for her campaign. Meyer says she had been unaware of Montoya's decision to register a web address very similar to rival Republican candidate Matt Mead's. Montoya's action meant visitors to mattmeadforgovernor.com were sent to Meyer's website. Smoking, alcohol, and drug use are on